Yeah, there, everyone. How's it going? It's Friday. It's Friday, November 18th, and there's a lot of college basketball to talk about. I did sell algorithms today related to college basketball for sure. So I'm doing a video about it. The other sports I haven't fully updated yet. And NFL, we're not going to do anything with at all. But hockey and college basketball, there's a glance in here of what I did last night, but I haven't updated it yet because I've been too busy and I have other things to do. There's a lady in Maine who needs payroll work done, and we're going to do a bunch of those videos today about payroll because I'm moving on to other topics. But for those of you who are still into sports betting, you have to send me money for these things to get me to do them and focus on them every day because it's exhausting and I just cannot do this all the time. I was thinking about what to do for upcoming at the end of the month, and I was like, every day somebody sends me money and it's a reasonable amount of money every day, I will do the sport they want and send it to you. I know that you're like, wait a minute, I don't want to pay like $50 just for one day. Well, then learn how to update the algorithms yourself. I mean, that's why I'm sending you the Excel files and showing videos on how to do that. Because I just cannot monitor, especially monitoring the Google Sheet. The Google Sheet's going to have to stop because this is exhausting. But the work that does get done has to benefit. And I want to talk about what I did today. So neutral site games. There's some colors here now. Neutral site games are super important. And I went through and I had to basically look at the game location and type it in. All right. That's obviously an additional layer of work, but you have to do it because you need to know who's a true home team and who's not a true home team. Because right now we have all this stuff in order. And basically, I have this in order by margin, meaning we think that the strongest team is at the top here. It's not showing it by line right now. So we're showing it by margin. So it's like the strongest pick of the day is actually an away team in North Alabama against Mississippi Valley State. I also am making this thing dynamic in the Google Sheet here for this weekend and for the rest of November. Why not? Like I'll paste it in the Google Sheet and then we'll put formulas in here so that it automatically calculates who wins and loses. That's what I'm doing here now and what's in progress. So I obviously am not even done, with this, but it is pretty done because it's already basically been updated with all the games we had. So what do? Well, we look at everything by money line like we did yesterday, descending. And we see that there's a bunch of underdogs that are all away teams. That makes a lot of sense because you want to bet home teams because away teams you can never count on an away team at all. But some things like these teams plus a lot of, I don't know. Only one of them won yesterday and one of them lost when I did that yesterday with Tennessee State and was it Florida Gulf Coast or something. So these are not great picks. But what we do have is we have neutral site games, which means nobody's home, right? So that makes it fine to take the team that's over here. So you have Central Florida beating Oklahoma State at plus 225. So even though they're not a home team, that's still a pick because they're not really an away team either. Both these teams are away, so nobody's home. So that's a really good line. Then we have still more away teams. Some of these away teams are going to win, by the way. I don't know how many, but some of them are going to win. Then you've got a plus 168 Tarleton versus Belmont. This is in the Virgin Islands. So these are, 15% margin here. Central Florida is actually only a 3% margin here. So that's a lower margin. So it's supposed to be a closer game. And when you sort this by margin, that's why that line is better. This one's a 15% margin. So Tarleton would win this game anyway. Nobody's home, and that's plus 168. So that's a pretty good pick there too. Then Illinois and UCLA are in Las Vegas. It's a really close margin game, but the line is for Illinois. Fairleigh Dickinson is your first true home underdog that shows up on here against Southern Illinois Edwardsville, an arena that I have actually been to. I have a video from that arena when I snuck in there. I had to sneak in there. There was no sign saying I couldn't go in there. It was the day that a game got canceled because of COVID. It was funny. I was driving through town. So anyway, they're in Fairleigh Dickinson, which is kind of fun because going through all the locations of the games, you start to realize where these places are. And I can't remember where Fairleigh Dickinson is right now, but it's not in Illinois, I don't think. We'll find out. Point is they're an underdog and they have a 10% margin. So that's a true one. So when I always say pick of the day can never be an away team, well, these aren't true away teams, but within our logic about the pick of the day always has to be a home team, Fairleigh Dickinson's the pick of the day at plus 122 because they have a 10% margin anyway with no home bump. We're doing no home bump at all because of so many neutral site games. I didn't want to screw up the formulas and make things all distorted by putting a home bump in there. So everything is just a true comparison. And then we look at what's home and away. So Fairleigh Dickinson is fairly the pick of the day. McNeesy, now you start getting into favorites with McNeesy, Wagner, and UMBC, but big margin for Wagner here against Fairfield. Pretty good line. Got some more games at neutral site locations. I noticed there were games in Uncasville, Connecticut. I know exactly what that is because I used to work at Mohegan Sun Casino and I know that stadium well. I actually worked for the special events department as well as the accounting department there, mixed around. And so that's kind of fun. And I went to the University of Vermont. So my alma mater is playing at a place I used to work. And that's how college basketball works. If you think about it, that's why college basketball gets a lot of ratings because who doesn't want to watch their alma mater play? And almost every school has a team all over the country. So it's kind of cool. That in that sense, I like doing this, but man, you think I'm going to monitor these 66 games and their scores all day? The answer is I cannot do that and be happy looking at myself in the mirror at the end of the day. I can't do it. And I mean, I'll probably wager a little bit, do one round robin, but I'm not going to share it. I'm not going to care. I've been through this where people get real excited about doing this and we have some good days and then it goes through a bad run and it goes back and forth and back and forth. And people who know this for a long time know that there's a lot of swings and it's also just a tremendous amount of work. And I still haven't really found it to be a net benefit when it comes to just a gambling life balance, I guess you could call it, because I've turned it into work and it's not fun really to watch the games anymore because I'm paying attention to every sports results and every games and doing them and updating them in these Google Sheets all night. For example, I don't even know who won these NBA games last night, except I know Brooklyn won because my bet won on them. That's the only reason I know. I have no idea what happened. There's so much going on. And like I said, not paying attention to sports. There's other projects completely unrelated to all this I'm working on. So that's the college basketball update. And I hope you have a good day. And if you want me to continue doing videos and doing sports, then go purchase some of the algorithms and contact me. And that's the way to get me to do that. All right. Good luck. Mail your picks. Be winning.